Moving on. So this story breaks about Rami Malek. I see your name locked in. So tell me about it. What the hell happened?
All right, you guys are gonna get the full story.
Tell me.
I love this.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Can I swear in here?
What are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, okay, great.
I did the
No,
thing.
you
Ryan
fucking
Snelling,
cannot.
Ryan Snelling
right.
hates when we do that. So
Oh
let's
my
fucking do it.
God! So as you know, most people at Collider know, I went around Sunday night on Oscar night saying Rami Malek's going to be the Bond villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is something I'd sort of heard on Friday.
Oh.
Got the tip that it looked like the schedule was going to work out with Mr. Robot, because Variety had put his name out in December and said that that's who they wanted, but because of the Mr. Robot shooting schedule, it wasn't going to be feasible. However, Bond then pushed. You know, it got delayed a little bit, and the release date moved from February to April, and so they had a little bit more time on their hands. And I get this tip Friday. I start, working it on Sunday or Monday or whatever. His reps never responded to me. So, like, that's that story. Right. I must have called them 100 times over the last 3 days. I sent them multiple emails. I went to the agency. I went to the publicist. Like, nobody.
So
Nobody's
how does
talking.
that work? So the people listening, you say, hey, this is Jeff Snyder from Collider. I'm hearing that Rami's up for the Bond villain. Can you confirm or deny that type of conversation?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Which I posted a screenshot of yesterday on Twitter.
Right.
And then... But I had wanted to say something Sunday night on the post show, basically on FYC, and break it there.
Yeah.
I talked to Frosty, and I understand that if I had gone on FYC and said that, it doesn't do anything for Collider's bottom line, really.
Right.
And then everyone else writes articles about it, and we don't really get the credit that Collider deserves. So he talked me out of saying anything on Sunday night. We were basically trying to get a second source on it, and somebody firm. So, MGM's position on all things Bond is just we don't comment on Bond speculation.
Yeah.
What's frustrating is, like, listen, there's speculation, and then there's like a seasoned industry reporter coming to you saying, I have a really good source saying this is true, this is happening.
Yeah.
So no comment from MGM and no response from Rami. And those are the two sides. That's where you're trying to get confirmation. But there's a third leg to this triangle, which is Universal. So the whole key to this deal is that Universal Pictures has international on Bond 25. And on a huge tentpole like that, particularly Bond, which is an internationally flavored series, that matters. You have a lot of input as the international distributor, and you're negotiating to try to get them to do it with the Mr. Robot people. And who produces Mr. Robot? Universal Cable Productions.
Right.
Again, if Bond was being, a Disney movie or a Warner Brothers movie, and you're negotiating with Universal, they are maybe not necessarily inclined to rearrange the shooting schedule for Mr. Robot. But that's where synergy comes in. Universal is basically like with Universal. Right. So they figured it out. So yesterday, our buddy Kroll goes on Twitter and says, incoming, and he leaves that up there for like 10, 15 minutes, and I'm getting nervous. I'm like, I think this is it.
Yeah.
I think it's Bond. So I call Frosty at 2:47 on my phone.
Yeah.
In the morning?
No, in the
I was
afternoon.
gonna say,
And I'm like, Frosty, like, listen, I think we should post. I think we should pull the trigger. Like, I know nothing has changed in terms of our sourcing, and it's still one really good source. But like, just based on human behavior, like no one on Rami's team is telling me no. And believe me, if I was listen. You guys don't understand. Spidey senses, like Spider-Man, he has such senses. Snidey senses is a real thing.
Nice.
My snidey senses were going absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And because normally, if you're totally wrong on something, like they won't confirm if you're right, but if you're totally wrong, they'll be like, Jeff, don't do this. You're gonna look stupid, and you're gonna make my client look stupid. Right. Nobody said that. It was just exactly. Yeah. So something's up. So at 2:47, I call Frosty. I say, listen, I think this is that Kroll is teasing a Bond thing. We got to pull the trigger. Let's do it now. And at 2:47, Kroll posts.
Oh, no.
And all I see is the Bond headline from like the blast from Variety. I didn't even click on the story. Didn't have to click on the story. For all I knew, his story was like, and Rami Malek is not going to be in the movie. I just knew.
Yeah.
Bond headline goes up. We click exclusive. We click publish. And Kroll's story basically says that there's renewed interest in Rami Malek. Our story was much stronger, and we basically said it's final negotiations. I mean, once you've worked out the schedule, why would you rearrange Mr. Robot's schedule if the guy wasn't doing the movie? So, I was texting Kroll. He immediately, started laughing at me via text because we labeled our story exclusive. But really, we were both hedging. We hedged on in terms of time, and he hedged in terms of wording.
Right. And you guys are good friends.
Yeah. And his story for the most part, to be truthful, was really about Billy Magnuson coming in and being the CIA agent. Malek was like the 4th or 5th paragraph in the Variety story. He was not the news hook. It was not about Rami Malek is going to be in this movie. Right. But he did sort of back up our reporting that, listen, yes, other people have taken meetings on this, but this is still Rami Malek's job if he wants it. And it sounds like he does, and it sounds like he is taking steps to
become the villain of
it.
Bond.
Yes.
Okay, wow, look at that.
Can I ask, what's the difference on getting an actual exclusive story and posting it on your site? As opposed, like, how many clicks do you get compared to not being the source?
I mean, it
depends on the story.
It all depends on
the
it depends on the story. I mean, I think the Malek story did really well for us. I've never looked at traffic. I never looked at traffic whether I'm a reporter here at Collider or whether I'm the editor in chief of the tracking board.
You just want.
But on Twitter, based on Twitter numbers, it seemed like it performed well, and we seem to be the credited outlet for the most part. I mean, people obviously credited Justin for the Billy Magnuson thing, but I feel like we are the outlet saying we're very confident that Rami Malek is going to be in this movie.
Right. Love it.
So to you, is it more important that you're making sure that the company and that you represent and that you're working for is actually getting like quality stories and like actual accurate headlines and news?
Of course, I want to be accurate, and so I understand Frosty's reticence to post earlier than yesterday afternoon because we did want stronger sourcing on it.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to hear at least one more person. Particularly maybe somebody involved with Mr. Robot who knew that the schedule was being rearranged to accommodate him. I would have loved that too. But yeah, as soon as I saw the Bond headline, I was like, listen, I trust this source. This source has not steered me wrong in the past, and we're going. Right. I have enough editorial. I think my editorial judgment is pretty good. Maybe not my Twitter judgment, but as far as what I post on the websites that I work for, I really stand behind it.
Yeah.
And it's not a done deal, and it could fall apart. But I wouldn't have posted it if I didn't think that it would happen.
You haven't gotten any pushback from anybody.
I have not.
Right.
I have not gotten a single email.
And you would.
I think I would have been yelled at by now.
Because somebody would come out and deny it, right?
I think his people would have said something to me. I think, I would have gotten some kind of nod that, like, you shouldn't have done that. And I posted the screenshot of the I didn't screenshot the publicist's. I didn't screenshot somebody else's email, which I'd gotten in trouble for before. I screenshotted my own email that nobody responded to that proves that I didn't just go because Variety went. I've been on it for days and gave them literally a time. This is a time-sensitive request. We're going today.
This is why I wanted you on the show, because I think that people don't realize like what goes into.
They have no idea.
Reporting.
Sometimes.
You're it's like any other. When you're breaking news on whatever it might be, movie news, political news, whatever it is, you're tracking down sources. You want to make sure because. Jeff Snyder is a very legitimate reporter. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he doesn't want to just throw shit out there. So, but again, when you got the census, and this is it, this is legit. I got to go with it, and it's just a matter of because you want to keep the legitimacy. That's why the risk is obviously there.
I think it was because I didn't know what Variety was posting or when it was posting, and to me, it's insane
that sounds so
that their story is 2:47 and my phone call to Frosty is 2:47.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It sounds like a stressful job.
That's why I have no hair, Dorina.